Okay, let me get us live on Insta. Add destination. Insta it is. Bingo. Save and changes. Having the vertical. Go live. Elijah, what's up, man? Old school Nick, what's happening, family? Go live, boss. All right, we are live on Insta. We got Big John in the house.
What's up?
Yo.
What's happening?
Oh, excuse me. Fellas, what's up?
Man, another day, another dollar.
That's what they
Amen.
say.
Amen.
Whew. Let the room warm up as usual.
Cool.
Okay. Mr. B. Radley's in the house.
Hey, good evening, guys.
What up? What up?
Greg?
How's everyone?
All right. Well, we'll both sides warm up a little bit.
Okay.
Let people get up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Mark's got the camera crew over there getting his wardrobe and makeup done.
Yo, you crazy.
He's like, man, makeup and wardrobe running behind schedule. So I'm like, all right.
Nah,
It's all good.
man. Y'all crazy.
Oh, good.
Oh, man.
Mortal Bullies, New York. What's up, family? Okay, Ish is watching. We got Jaime. We got South Wolfpack Kennel. That's a good name. Wolfpack. Tennessee Try. What's up, Tennessee Try? How you feeling, man? More Life Bullies. Yeah, this is a banger.
Cool.
Oh, man. Got the sniffles. How's your week going, Bradley?
Going good. Going good.
How's our little girl over there?
Eating me out of house and home, and that girl, she's eating as much as Chama nearly, and she'll go knock Kim out of the way and take kids if I ain't careful.
Nice.
Man, them females can eat, man. That's
yeah,
for
they
sure.
growing really has. She's put on a couple pounds since last weekend, so growing fast.
Yeah. It's like you blink your eyes and they're already, 50 pounds.
Yep. Don't take long.
It's a class day. Ain't it? 5, 26, 28. Oh, 28. Okay, Macho, Eddie Perez, shouts out to you guys. So, hey, guys, we got a cool episode tonight. This is Marky's topic. Indoor kennel versus outdoor kennel. I'm gonna let them open this one because we can't, in Sumo Bully Kennels fashion, we just don't like these small topics, man. We got to go hard. We got to go robust.
Yes,
We got to
sir.
go multi-tier topics.
Yep.
So, without further ado, I'll let Mark take the room and kind of lead our discussion board tonight.
Yes,
So,
sir.
everybody, thank you for joining, and let's have some fun tonight.
For sure. Appreciate it, Earl. First and foremost, hope everybody had a great day today. Thank you for joining us tonight, wherever you are. If you don't know me, and my name is Mark. I am Sumo Bully East Coast, better known as Pretty Boy Sumo. Today's topic is, as Earl said, outdoor kennels versus indoor kennels. Tonight we're just taking, this topic to, answer some questions along the lines of like what works best for, the dogs, what works best for your program, what works best for the environment and lifestyle. So we're gonna just jump straight into it, talk about some pros and cons and different ways you can implement some of the lessons that we might let here, and the stories that we might tell into your lifestyle, whether you have a pet, whether you are a breeder, whether you are up and coming in this dog game. And hopefully we just hope you take something away from this. So drop your comments and questions as the live goes on. We'll try to make sure we get to everybody. But yeah, so let's get into it, because the reality of it is, I know some people do outdoors, some people do indoor, some people do both. Some people have experience with both. So we're definitely going to pick the brains of everybody here first. I'll start it off. For me, I definitely have, when I got into this, it's always been for me indoor, just because of, coming up as a young breeder and dog person. I didn't have the, acres and acres of land, for my dogs at the time. So I had to start with, what I had. So it started in mom and dad's backyard. And so I only had one dog. So, from there, I ended up growing through, the environmentals and, just, I've always been indoor. That's always been my thing. So for me, I haven't done the outdoor thing, like personally, but I have seen it, work for, some breeders and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to want to pick the brains of everybody here on what, they're currently doing or what they have done. If they have done both, I've seen, Earl's setup. I know Big John, we talked about your setup before too. Bradley, I'm not sure, how your setup is. So if we can just go around the room and just, what you all are doing currently, over there on each side of the chapter. And that's how we're going to open this thing up.
Okay. I'll jump out there first. Right now, I currently have outdoor. My dogs are on there's only 3 of them right now, but they're on I think it's a 15 by 16 like deck platform. And then I have them covered with the what you want to call almost like an awning. So they stay pretty dry. They're in what is it, 10 by 6 kennels.
Yep.
Dog houses in there. Their bedding is straw or hay, whatever you want to call it. Cedar chips. I replaced that type of stuff probably like inside of their dog houses. I replace that like every 2 to 3 weeks. I still keep cedar chips and stuff outside on the deck platform as well because it helps with smell. It captures moisture, pee. It helps me pick up the poo better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, it works. I have I'm working on an indoor facility now as well, so I'm probably going to run both.
Yeah.
Both by probably like May, June-ish. I'll have both up and running. Did you want to go to pluses and minuses, Mark, or you just wanted to move on and then circle back around?
I'm gonna get everybody set up in Sumo land, and then
Okay.
and then from there we'll swing back around for the pros and cons.
All right, so yeah, that's my outdoor setup.
Cool. All right, we want to go next.
So I'll go. So currently, kind of the same situation. Mine are still pups, so they're inside the house currently, right? So
Yep.
We kennel train. We've kennel trained all of our inside dogs that we've ever had. Just had real good luck out of that. So they'll use the bathroom outside. But currently in process of building an indoor facility beside the house here, some kennels. So it will be indoor climate controlled type thing. They will have runs on the outside and a fenced-in area behind that as well that, we can turn them loose and let them run and exercise some. So,
Nice.
but that's currently still in process. So yeah.
I like that. Cool. And go ahead. I know a lot of people have seen your setup, but just for the business of the lives, go ahead and let them know if they haven't seen your setup, what you got going on over there.
Shoot, man. Mine is I have a hybrid setup.
Yep.
I'll go into detail later about why it's set up that way.
Yep.
But generally speaking, what I have is an attached building that's foam insulated with gas lines and water lines, which allows me to control the temperature. And also, my dogs are able to go in and out themselves with the door flaps. And so, generally speaking, you talk about structure. It's set up, temperature controlled, in and out. All dogs are able to go in and out.
Yep. Cool. And I like that. I do. So let's get into it a little bit more. First and foremost, I just want to say that when it comes to understanding like indoor, outdoor, it's not like good care is not determined if your dogs are indoor or outdoor. If you have an indoor or outdoor facility in your you know in your camp, in your house, or whatever you set it up, it's determined by the management and the structure and the responsibility. Of course, all these things have to work for you, but they definitely have to work for your dog as well, to make sure they're environmentally sound. You know, make sure that they're comfortable, they're happy, because they're only going to be able to grow to their fullest potential based on their environment. At the end of the day, so terrible indoor setups, there's terrible outdoor setups. You know what I mean? There is no right answer to what you should and shouldn't be doing. It's just more so, like I said, the management, the structure, and how you're going about, raising your dog on that type of facility, if you must, or in that living situation. So you can also have elite indoor programs or elite outdoor programs. So like the list just goes on. The kennel itself doesn't determine quality. It's the owner that determines that. So we as owners determine the quality of our dogs based on their, your setup. We all have different setups. Earl has a hybrid. I'm indoor. Bradley's indoor currently right now with, the future looking to make it more of a hybrid setup. Earl's hybrid already. And I do like that hybrid setup. I feel like that is, a perfect way to do it. And I think, Big John, obviously you're going to also have that too when you have the facility that you build. So, and that just, to me, that gives the dog the ability to, live in an environment where they're able to do their own thing with the boundaries that, you have in place for them, of course. You know what I mean? So I'll start with the, some of the pros of having an outdoor. And Big John, you could definitely chime in on this because, you currently have an outdoor setup. But these are just some of the things that I looked up. You have a cleaner home environment. Normally the inside of your home might be a little bit cleaner because you have your dogs separated from your inside unit where you live. You eat, you hang out. If their life and where they spend most of their time is outdoor, that means for the most part, your indoor cleanup is not really that much of a hassle. You have less odor. You might have less hair and dirt depending on, where the dogs are coming in and out of. And you don't have, a whole bunch of like multiple dogs just running around in your house. You know what I mean? Another advantage of an outdoor kennel, I would say, is structure and routine. Dogs learn structure, very fast, I would say. Adapting to the new environments that they go into, whether you're getting them from a breeder, or you're breeding them yourself. They adapt to where their living space is very fast, and they get really into routine. So they understand rest time. You got to teach them rest time, outside time, and then working time. Those are some of the things that we do here because we do have dogs that we want to show. So all those three factors really factor in to the advantage of having an outdoor kennel. I would say another advantage would be mental strength and environmental toughness. If they're out in the environment, out in the different elements, and they're used to being outside and not just being solely in the house, that means they're hearing a whole bunch of different noises. They practice independent behavior. You know what I mean? Their environmental toughness is to a point where they can be in any type of environment and they'll be able to succeed, whether they're indoor, outdoor, whether they hear a loud sound outside, a sound they never heard before. You know what I mean? It stimulates the mind, being exposed to so many different sounds, weather, and other, things that just honestly that builds a stronger confidence in the dog's environmental skills, in my opinion. Another advantage I would say is better scalability. If you have multiple dogs and you have the outdoor kennels, it helps you. It allows you to expand and have a larger lot. Obviously, a big rule that I've always had is don't put too many eggs in a basket. Like, I'm not saying have 20 dogs outside or inside. You know what I mean? It has to make sense for what you're able to manage. If you can manage 4 dogs on the inside, 4 dogs on the outside, whatever it may be, then stick by it. So sometimes, I've run into, situations in the past with, other breeders and growing up in this and stuff like that. And I've seen people get overwhelmed with the amount of dogs that they had, whether they were indoor or outdoor kennels. And that just becomes a train wreck. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're inside or outside. So, but outdoor advantage, it does. If you have the space for it, it allows you to have more dogs. It allows you to have more expansion if you are able to take care of the dogs on an outside capacity. Big John, I don't know if you want to weigh in on some of the outdoor advantages you may have noticed having outdoor kennels and stuff like that on your yard.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, you definitely hit them. as far as your personal space in the house. So I love dogs, but I like my personal space away from
Correct.
my dogs. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I'm a proponent of outside dogs. Definitely the sounds and things that they get used to, man. They're not it helps them not to be as skittish.
Right.
They're more well-rounded. Like where I'm at, I'm kind of in the country, so at some part of the day they're going to hear and smell a deer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
at night or wee hours in the morning, they go hear, smell possum, raccoon, coyote, fox, all that running around and creeping around back behind
Yeah.
my property. You know what I'm saying? So from that, every now and again, certain ones I can hear barking, or when I look at the cameras or whatever, I can see them looking out, trying to look and see what's back behind them. So whereas first I'm watching them when they were little pups,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they would just go in the doghouse and kind of
Yeah.
peek around. Now they stand at attention when they hear those noises. You know what I'm saying? So you can definitely see the progress, and I like that. They can hear the sounds, like you say. Even though I am in the country at night, they hear the 18 wheelers, big trucks, and cars with the mufflers and rolling. They hear all
Yeah.
types of stuff. Then they hear my neighbors talking.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're in their backyard or on their back deck or whatever. So it helps them be more well-rounded. That's my opinion. Especially when I take them out and out and about, they're well managed. Nothing scares them. Like they had their vet visit maybe like 2 weeks ago,
Right.
and I mean nothing phased them. The needles, the drawing of the blood,
Yep.
checking stool, and I mean they were just
Calm.
calm. And
Yeah.
and that's and I think besides them being in the house, messing up stuff in the house, that's a big plus for me when I take them like to the vet and they're trying to get things done. I mean, I don't have to wrangle them and hold them and choke them and all that type of stuff to keep them still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're good.
Right. Right. Earl, I know you got a hybrid setup. What were some of your pros having, the dogs having that accessibility outside, just specifically versus like the hybrid setup? Just, I want you just to focus on like the outside part. Like, what are the pros of outdoor kennels?
Well, okay. So if we're digging into just the outdoor part, obviously, um, depending on what part of the country you're from and your weather is going to be a determining factor if you have an outside setup. For example, if you're in a hot climate, you have outdoor setups. Your biggest challenges is that heat, losing dogs to overheating, things like that. For me, I'm up here in the Midwest. We get some maybe 3 weeks of really, really hot days. For the most of the year, it's, you know what I mean? It's pretty balanced where the dog can manage that temperature. But we also have brutal winters. And so my dogs, I honestly, I like my dogs to be acclimated to all the weather. Um, Extreme colds, obviously, I like them to go out there. However, I like them to be able to come on in and get warm when it's too much. And the same thing when it's hot, right? When your dogs are in there and they're panting and they're just sitting there just panting. And so I do like the air conditioning my space. And, in the summertime, I like to hose my dogs down and just leave them wet. Uh, because dogs don't sweat, they don't have sweat glands to dispel heat. They have to breathe out their mouth to dispel that heat. And so you hear that panting.
Yeah.
It's the only way they can dispel that heat. And, the only way for them to cool down if they're not in a cool room is to drink water, hydration,
Mhm.
or to cool the overall body, like hose them down, basically.
Right.
And so what I like about having a hybrid, especially just the outdoor part, is that when the dog is acclimated to the weather, um, and they know how to manage the heat and manage the cold. Um, I like a durable dog. I like a dog that can run in 6 inches of snow and go out on a 90-degree day. Obviously, when it's super hot, they're um, for you guys in the hotter part of the country, from 12 to 5 or 6, these dogs are just parked.
Yeah.
And then when it cools down at night, they'll come back out or
Yep.
early in the morning. But in the peak of that heat, so 11:30 to all the way to about 5 or 6, so that sun really starts to settle down. Them dogs are like, nope. And if you look at the animal world, it's the same way.
Right.
It's not like anybody's going out there hunting like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right under that heat of that sun.
Right.
Normally, the dusk dawn, in the African savannah, right? For example, they'll normally hunt at night. It's just that sun is brutal, man. And
For
so
sure.
I like the dogs what I call to be seasoned.
Mm.
A
Mhm.
seasoned dog can deal with those kind of weather extremes. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
we're not going to have a 100-degree day today and then a minus 50-degree day tomorrow.
Right.
However, throughout the year, the dog adapts.
Right.
The dog is aware, and so the part I like about having an outdoor space where they can go out is because they're meant to be out there. It's not like these things were bred to be indoor and somebody carrying them in a purse or sleeping on a couch. There's no couch. Well,
Right.
and so to me, you still got to let a dog be a dog.
Correct.
And the minute you take that away from that dog, and then generationally, the dog becomes softer.
Right. You can ruin that dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The dog is softer. It's not just the temperature, but the bugs. The bugs is a big thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Flies.
Mhm.
Summertime, it's flies and mosquitoes. It's all those things. The animals out there. I don't know. I just feel for a dog to be balanced, there has to be, a dog has to spend time outdoor, and
Right.
the sun is good for the dog just like it's good for us.
Right.
That vitamin D from that sun is essential.
For sure.
It's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I feel like a dog that doesn't get to see the sun or breathe fresh air outside is kind of, one, the dog is not weathered, but two, is lacking that full mental stability,
Right.
right? Of a more well-balanced, more mentally balanced dog if you don't get to go outside. So
Right. Bradley, what are some pros that you would think, an outdoor kennel could provide?
I think you guys touched on them very well. I think the one thing that goes back to is natural habitat, right? They're born to be outside pets, outside dogs, outside. If you go back to the natural, even I will say off what Earl just said, even inside, inside dogs, if they are inside during the cold times or in the windows, they find the sun, right? So they naturally adapt to that sunlight, to that sunshine, right? And it's just like anything else, right? The heat, the cold, to a degree, right? It puts strain on them to an extent, which helps them to adapt and become, stronger, as you guys have said. So that's why, to me, depending on where you're at geographically, right? Earl, for my dogs to see 6 inches of snow, I'm about to ship them to you in the winter for a couple months. We don't see snow down here. It does get cold from time to time, right? But we don't see much snow. It's very rare. So, but we do have very hot summers, and I think more than the heat in the southeast down this direction is humidity, right? And when that humidity's up, it puts a big strain on them. So that's why, me personally, I'm choosing a hybrid type system. That way they have a little bit of everything. They can go inside when it's 100 degrees with 70% humidity here in the southeast to cool off. And so that's kind of, but definitely benefits to both and goes back to natural habitat, right, for the outside. It's definitely good for them, definitely needed mentally, physically, in every realm.
Right. I like that. Thank you. So all right, let's get real. Let's talk about the cons that the outdoor kennels can cause. I would say the responsibilities are definitely heightened. I know Earl touched on weather management. That's mandatory, of course. Like, you must provide some type of shade. Obviously, if it's too hot, depending on where you are, proper airflow. If you're leaving your dog outside in the winter, make sure you have some type of heating for them. And then if it's the summer, it's reverse. Cooling. If it's summertime, some type of AC, fan, whatever. Um, Outdoor doesn't mean leave the dog exposed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I would say that's one con. Another one, it definitely requires more infrastructure. I mean, if you have an indoor kennel, you're already inside. So I mean, unless you're living inside of a box with your dogs, then the 9 times out of 10 we all have roofs over our heads with our dogs and everything like that. So you already have the infrastructure right there for an indoor kennel. But outside, you got to create it. I know when I first, visited Earl, he was telling me the evolution of his setup. And he changed that thing like he changed his draws. You know what I mean? It's just like you gotta adapt, you gotta evolve and everything like that. So, his outdoor setup, it's a lot more work because he had to change the infrastructure based off of what he learned with having the hybrid, setup he had, but especially for the outdoor side of things. The indoor, you can get away with a lot more because, like I said, that's indoor of your, living space. So, roofing, covers, flooring, turf, the sealed areas, obviously some type of drainage back there. If you want to be like super clean, like turf really keeps it more clean back there. I remember my backyard was like a mud pit, like a mud bowl when it used to, rain and everything like that. So I had to switch to turf because my dogs were coming back in here like I was raising pigs. So it's like it's like that's the worst, especially when I got an indoor kennel. It's like I don't got an outdoor setup; they're bringing mud all in the house. So I'm mopping every pee break. I'm mopping.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, man. So that's hard. So that's definitely a con. I'll say one more. I'll give one more. Like I just said this previously, but like physical checking, like just making sure you're inspecting your dogs every day to make sure they're not getting into something that may be outside. Earl touched on the flies and the different insects that might be out there. Your dog could get into something if you're not monitoring them and they're always outside, or not even your dog getting into something could get into your dog. So, you got to make sure you're checking your dogs. That's just dog owner etiquette anyway. You should be checking no matter what the setup is. But, checking for any type of bite marks, any type of like flare ups or anything of that nature. But I think that type of security and judgment of your dog is heightened when you are only running an outdoor setup because you never know what's out there when you're not, monitoring it at the time. So what are some cons you faced, Big John?
Snakes. I killed a couple of snakes every summer.
Yeah.
So I keep plenty of lime down and stuff like that. And let me see. Coyotes, they can be pretty tricky at night. They'll try to dig if they feel there's something in it that they want. Like, so when the outside kennels, when the puppies are young, I mean they know they're young, believe it or not. So I keep the smaller ones in a kennel together, surrounded by the bigger dogs. That kind of keeps them wondering, can they get touched by the bigger dogs or whatever. So you touched on always monitoring, being able to monitor your dogs. So thank God I'm here at night all the time, so I can see the camera. So when I see those eyes, or I get a little chirp from my camera, from my little trail camera, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I know it's a coyote, right? So if it's too close, I'm up. And here in Georgia, coyotes are varmint, so we can get rid of them on site. So I get rid of them too. So let me see. the winters are smooth here in Georgia. Like that's not like we don't really need to have heaters outside, because I mean just this past winter we had a couple of 20s, but you know, if you learn to stuff your dog houses with hay and the dogs are in there, it goes against their body and it creates natural body heat. And you'll see, like Earl said, like they only come out to use the bathroom and eat. So you have to do things like that. The summer is when it can get tricky. You're gonna need some fans. If at all possible, man, you got to have your kennels in where a portion of it is in the shade. If your dog is in this Georgia heat and probably that Alabama heat all day, it's gonna die. I can guarantee you that. It's gonna die from heat exposure. So you have to be responsible, man. You gotta provide them shade. Even when the hot days, the real hot days, when we got like 98, 99 and stuff like that. Like Earl say, man, I get up in the morning, I try to wet them down a little bit, you know, before I go to work or run my errands or whatever. Fresh water. If you can, you know, drop a little bit of ice in there. I buy bags of ice sometime, keep it in a freezer, and just put a half a bag of ice in those bowls and those, you know, 5-quart buckets or whatever for them. You know, and they can self-manage with that, keep themselves cool. If it gets too hot, like I said, they're gonna go back in that shade and in them dog houses to cool off. They're not gonna come out. Same thing in the wintertime. They're not gonna come out until it's time to use the bathroom. And I feed at night, especially in the summertime. I feed at night, so that food is not sitting there on their stomachs and cooking them. You know what I'm saying? With a big belly full of food and they out in that heat, not a good combination. So
You're gonna lose your dog to bloat.
Huh?
You're gonna lose your dog to bloat.
Yeah. So those are the cons for me. I had when I was in the game dogs, man, I had 40 dogs outside on the yard. So I'm good with fly management. So flies don't bother me. I got that's an everyday management for guys who have outside dogs, man. You wiping them down and you spraying that repellent. And I put just a little tip, I put a bag balm on their ears. So the flies won't bite their ears up, like, you know what I mean? Flies seem to stay away from that. If you don't know what bag balm is, it look almost like Vaseline. Come in this green can. They got it at Tractor Supply. Got a little funny smell to it, but that'll keep flies off their ears and stuff. Flies don't seem to like that. So
I thought you rubbed that old Roy on it.
Shit, that old Roy's a repellent anyway.
That's gonna keep people away. That's gonna keep people away from the dog.
I'm gonna tell you, man, that old Roy back in the day did the job, boy, especially 40 dogs.
Or what are your outdoor horror stories, if you got any, or like any cons you can weigh in on?
You know, it's I wouldn't say the outdoor has cons. I would say I believe in the outdoor for dogs. So I would say the challenges that we face and things to be mindful of. Obviously, number one is weather control. You know, you got to manage your dog. Extreme heat or extreme cold could be temperamental for our dogs. You know what I mean? It can definitely not be good. Insects and bugs. If you're purely outside, you got to manage that. You got to be spraying something down to knock that, or be fogging your perimeters. You know, especially if you're in a humid area with lots of bodies of water. Outdoor wise, I don't like standing water. Absolutely not. That's a problem. That's coccidia. That's mosquitoville. That's name it, man. That stagnant standing water. You know what I mean? That attracts frogs and all kind of nonsense animals that shouldn't be there.
Yep.
So wildlife management, if you're outdoor, and obviously having a set perimeter because of theft. There's the animals, and there's the other animals that are bipedal.
Yes.
Other bipedal animals that you got to worry about looking at your stuff, all up in your video. Look at, whoa, why you got so many dogs?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Well, how come you don't shower every day? Yeah, I don't ask you that, right? Like, why are you ugly? Like, I don't ask you that, so why are you asking me ugly dog? It's people always got something to say, man, which is it's part of life. It is annoying, however. You know what I mean? We're in a free country, man. In the freest country in the world. Therefore, in pursuit of happiness, my happiness, right? It's mind your business.
Right.
So having an outdoor thing, not problematic, is if you have mouthy dogs and your neighbors aren't 5 acres away, one dog sounds off and it kicks off the other dogs and triggers them. If you got that one, I can't stand a mouthy dog. Like,
oh my God.
That'll piss me off, let alone my neighbors, right?
Yeah, that's worse than a damn rooster sometimes. Good God.
Yeah, I can't stand a
neighbors have them, bro. Ooh.
Oh, man, the neighbors.
5:30 every morning. They just going at it.
It's I like the outdoor stuff. It's just being responsible with it, of course, making sure that you have systems in place to manage different times of the year. Different times of year bring different weather, bring different challenges, and obviously wildlife and the bipedal wildlife that we don't want the commentary from. Camera systems, things like locks, safety systems, camera systems, prevention systems, right? If one dog gets out and there's a set perimeter where he can't get out of that one.
Absolutely.
There's all these things, man, to think about. And it's the same thing indoor too, but I won't even touch that. But we're just talking about outdoor. I'd love to live in a place where, it would all be outdoor facility.
Yeah, for sure.
Where I don't have to worry about snow and all these, cold stuff. But man, it's certainly, it's like you said, man. I mean, it really is. You got to know your environment.
Yeah.
You got to understand your dog, the kind of dog you have, the environment you live in, the different times of the year, and what your concerns should be. Obviously, if you cook a dog, now you came home and all your dogs are cooked. You didn't think about it, right?
Yeah.
I look at the temperature. It's so easy to look on your phone.
7 days.
And then past the safety and wildlife and environmentals, I worry about cleanliness. In fact, that might be on top of mind because I don't like, musty kennels that smell like poo and urine salts. You could tell the pee accumulation of urine gives a very distinct pungent smell.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to be able to hose that down and disperse that and have, like you say, good drainage. Right. Yeah. Otherwise, man, you walk in there and it's tough on the nose, man.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Sanitation, smell is a good sign of sanitation.
Yeah. I feel that. Let's see. Do we have any questions on IG? I don't have IG up or anything like that. I don't want to.
I got IG up, but I don't see any questions.
Cool. All right. Well, let's segment a little bit into the indoor, right? So indoor kennels also have like a major advantage, of course. You can control the temperature a lot better, air quality, of course, cleanliness, comfort. I mean, some people got some dirty homes, but let's just hope that, let's just hope that you're not that person. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, definitely comfort. So that's another advantage for sure. You definitely see your dog more frequently. So you can catch any type of issues that we talked about here way, way faster. So the monitoring is definitely turned up a notch. I think one of the biggest advantages of indoor facilities, kennels, whatever you call it, is a stronger bond with the dogs. No matter how many dogs you may have, that bond is strong, man. Like you know what I'm saying? I could be upstairs in my office right now. My dogs just hear the sound of my voice every single day. And that bond just is just so strong. And you can tell with their behavior. I mean, you know, so there's like my dogs were so used to me because a lot of my dogs were like COVID babies. Like some of them were COVID babies. So, we're all indoors at all hours of the time and just like spending so much time with them and stuff like that. They are so clingy. And I'll say that's another hard thing though, because it's like the bond sometimes is too strong. You got to set some boundaries and let them have their time when they're like away from you downstairs and you're out at the gym or you're upstairs for a little bit and they're not up underneath your feet. They call those Velcro dogs, and that's the thing. That's definitely a thing. So I think bonding is huge. Like the bond is definitely stronger. Sometimes it's so strong. The basic training is just so easy, right? Because you're just always with the dog. They always hear your voice, your different tones, your different emotions. When you go to train that dog and it's already been indoors with you 24/7, they already know when something goes wrong. They looking at you crazy. You cursing at the TV because somebody dropped the pass in the end zone. They're like, oh shit, is he yelling at me? It's like, I said, not y'all. I'm not yelling at y'all. I'm yelling at buddy on the screen. So, I think it's definitely another advantage is if you're breeding, it's ideal for sure. Obviously for puppies, dogs that could be sick, obviously mothers, of course, too. I think it's super ideal. I honestly get so nervous. Like I give my dogs their shots and everything like that when they're puppies, but I really wait until I get to that, final round before I start having them outside, in too many areas because, I just want to make sure that they're fully vaccinated before they even, go out there and touch or smell grass. You know what I mean? So, and that just comes with the cleanliness of where you're going and where you're at. So definitely it's an advantage. Obviously newborn puppies, recovering dogs, whether they're sick, recovering from injury or anything like that, it's definitely safer to have them indoors. And obviously pregnant females, I would say is another super advantage of having an indoor kennel. You know what I'm saying? So, Bradley, so, your dogs, they're inside, they're puppies, I know, but why would you prefer an indoor kennel? Like, what are some pros that you have, like just having them around, like that you like the most? What's your favorite?
So just I guess the comfort of mind, right? The peace of mind for the climate mainly, having been able to control that, especially with the hybrid or something like that.
Yeah.
I think you hit it square on the head when it comes to the training, the bonding. It's unlike anything else, right? And I think a lot of times too, bringing in new dogs when you have older dogs as well, you don't even have to spend a lot of time training the new dogs because they see how the older dogs act and react, and so they pick up very quick, right? So I think the people skills helps with that as well. I do think just the I don't know the overall peace of mind, right? I think when it comes to the outside, you just got to be on your toes, right, at all times due to the things that we just discussed. I think when it's inside, you can let your guard down a little bit, right? It don't take as much. You don't have to worry about the climate, the insects, the varmints, the predators, right? Depending on if you have a kennel that's detached or inside, right? Even the thieves, still the varmints, in my opinion. We take care of those around here about the same way John does the coyotes there, right? So, but I think just the peace of mind mainly, and being able to let your guard down a little bit, as opposed to, if you're fully outside.
Mm-hmm. True. Another pro, just along with the bonding part of it, like them dogs really are your best friends. They might do something stupid and just make you laugh when you just had a rough day. It's like they fucking go run into the TV or the dresser or something, and you just start busting out laughing. So like that's really the best part of the whole bonding situation. Having them indoors, man, like you get to catch all the stupid little things that they do, and it's like honestly, it's your best friend. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to have them walking around the house. I know some people, like especially like my parents, like when my dad, like when he goes to work at night, it's good that they, the dogs are there with my mom because she's, there by herself, like with my little brother. So it's like she got the dogs rolling around. She's not really alone. You know what I mean? So that's also another good thing for sure. Earl, what are some things that you like about having them indoors with your hybrid setup?
Okay, when we say indoor,
Mm-hmm.
let me clarify that for me.
Yep. Go ahead.
I don't think I could truly be an indoor dog kind of guy.
Mm.
I grew up on a farm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Dogs weren't supposed to intermingle in our personal space. Now, when I reference indoor, I mean a facility that's temperature controlled, with heat and air conditioning and water, running water, and all this good stuff. That's what So let me just be clear. When I say indoor, that's what I mean. And so I will, between my setup now and what we're planning in the next couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
I will always have a temperature controlled indoor area for my dogs. Now, for them being in the house, that would be my wife before me. I'll let them come in for a little bit, and then they're out. She will let them in more than a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll like, oh no, they haven't been here all day. Yeah, they have.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question in the chat. How do you guys handle your dogs when the 4th of July or New Year's happen? Like loud noises, fireworks, gunshots. To be honest, you like for 4th of July, I kind of just make sure I bring my dog outside. And a lot of the time we shoot off fireworks like we'll be right under where they're shooting it off. So I do bring them out there like during the 4th of July specifically. I know some people, they definitely like train their dogs for it. They go outside at the gun range, bring the dogs with them so they can get accustomed to that sound. If you have guns or go to the gun range or stuff like that. I think it's all about desensitization. To be honest, how often you have them around loud noises. I walk into the room with the puppies when they're young and I start banging pots and pans. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all.
Yeah,
I posted a video when I had my last litter. I had pots and pans. I had the vacuum cleaner, all on the cage and stuff like that. It's just you got to desensitize your dog. Whether if it's an older dog or younger, no matter when you get it, you got to get those loud noises. I'll get my speaker, I'll put it in there with the puppies, and I'll put on like random noises like helicopters, planes, all that. Because when I send those puppies home, I don't want you to get a puppy that's going to run and hide in the cabinet if you're vacuuming your floor. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give them as much confidence as I can before they go home. So, but what are some things that y'all do on those holidays?
My dog's outside during the 4th of July. They just be sitting there like. I catch one of them. Of course, one of them this 4th of July. Like my neighbors, they shoot their fireworks off, and my dog was just staring up. One of them was just staring up in the air the whole time. So one of the things that I do when they puppies, is I put them in little crates while I'm cutting the grass. One of the first things that I do, the lawnmower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get them just for a little bit. Maybe the first time I do it is maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, if that. And then the second time I cut grass, I leave them in that crate a little bit longer. Then once I build them up to about 30 minutes in that crate, I let them out while I'm cutting grass. When they get too close, I'll cut the lawnmower off. They get to sniffing it and looking around, jumping around. And once they start doing that, I'm like, okay, now I can go on about my business and they can just roam around. And then, man, next thing you know, they doing their own thing while I'm cutting my grass. You know what I'm saying? So getting them used to sounds and stuff like that, man, I think you have to do that early on.
For sure.
Early. I mean, like that banging pots and pans, knocking over trash cans outside and buckets and everything. Man, I do all of that type of stuff.
Right.
To get them used to those sounds.
Got to.
I think it depends on the dog too, because I said we enjoy shooting around here, so we shoot a lot, right? So that's come 4th of July. It's nothing that they haven't heard of. They're used to it. But we do have a couple dogs at my mother-in-law's house that are primarily outside dogs, right? That they're around it all the time too, but they can't take to it. They won't take to it. Guns, fireworks, man, they tuck and run, right? They're scared to death. So I think a lot of that depends on the dog and the personality of the dog as well. Some dogs can get accustomed to it and used to it. I have seen a couple that they just don't take to it well at all. So
Yeah, I don't. When it comes to that topic, man, it's a non-topic for me. Again, you guys already said what you do. Same thing.
Hmm.
But now my dogs, I have poodle that's very reactive.
Yeah,
Poodle,
yeah.
poodle will fight the fireworks. She'll fight the lawnmower. She'll fight the snowblower, a vacuum, fire, smoke, water. Like
Oh
she's
yeah, I remember the fire. You posted that video. That was crazy.
very, very reactive. So if it moves and makes noise, she's getting after it. And so what I do is when I have a dog like that, I gotta cage that dog
Hmm.
because the other dogs will kind of correct the dog in the pack when you have a lot of dogs, right? If you have one dog that's hypersensitive and reactive like that, that energy builds up and builds excitement. That's going to break out into a fight.
Every time.
And so you got to separate the dog that is the shifting the energy of your yard, right? And so if everybody's cool until a lawnmower goes on or a leaf blower, even she hears a
Hmm.
leaf blower, that it's on. It is, man. Look, it's like in this corner, fighting out a sumo bully kennel, champion poodle. Like that, she's that dog though. So, like I've learned, like even like in the summertime when my neighbors are getting their lawns cut or doing something, cleaning their gutters, and there's noise, man, you got to put her up because it's going to be a fight.
Mm.
She wants to get at whatever it is so bad, and then the other dogs are getting excited with her and barking, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You get a little mini fight break out over nothing.
Yeah.
And those are things as a new dog person, a new breeder. It's one thing when you only have one or two dogs, right? But once you start breeding and having multiple dogs and different dogs, you got to have a system that separates your dogs out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to know the trigger points of your dogs.
Yeah.
Fireworks around Poodle, like we could light fireworks at my house. She's gonna try to fight everything you like. The other dogs might stay back and be like, okay, I'm not scared, but I'm also not going near the fire. No, she's jumping right in there, man. Like she's,
Mm.
that's the kind of dog that her personality type is. It's throw caution through the wind, jump out the window, no parachute. We'll figure it out
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Just the kind of dog she is. So, yeah, like Bradley said, understanding what kind of dog you have.
Yeah.
And you can see that early on too in the dog's drive.
For sure.
So,
For sure. But all right, let's not skip away from the cons that the indoor kennels cause, because there definitely are some drawbacks. I got a couple here listed. I definitely say cleanliness and workload definitely increases. My goodness, because I cannot count the times I have mopped and cleaned this house. And then as soon as I let my dog back in, they come back inside and they just stepped in something and it's just tracked all through the house. And I'm just like, I just cleaned these floors. So I'll definitely say the cleanliness and the workload definitely increases when they're all in your space, for sure. Um, Hair, for sure. If your dog sheds a lot, depending on the dog you got. I mean, there's hair that could be all over the place. Odor, for sure. Depending on how often you clean your house, you got to definitely step up the cleaning on that because you're trying to avoid odor. Accidents, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I know, most dogs, they should be house trained if they're roaming freely in the crib, but that's not always the case. Even, dogs that are old and should know better, sometimes they have accidents, whether that's, peeing or pooping in the house or ripping up your favorite pair of Jordans. It could be anything. You never know. Um, cleaning cleaning the floors is definitely a constant. That's the biggest one. Um, Another one I'll say space limitation. Depending on the size of your house, you might be limited to a certain space, depending on how many dogs you have and where you want to store them at. You know what I'm saying? You got to make room for them. You know what I'm saying? Some people got their dogs right there in the kitchen, which is crazy. But I mean, it is what it is. Just your setup is your setup. Dogs, might be in your living room. They might, be somewhere, in your bedroom. Things of that nature. So your space is limited depending on the size of your home. Definitely puts more wear and tear on your home, scratches, damage that may occur. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. I had one of my dogs when they were younger, when they were puppies, they were chewing the damn molding off the damn walls, and I'm like, oh my goodness. When I had a litter of puppies, the cage was too close to the wall. They were putting holes in the wall. I'm like, do I have termites in this house? But it's the dog scratching up against the wall in the kennel, and I'm like, damn, I gotta back the cage up a little bit off the wall. So man, yeah, so that definitely happens, wear and tear in your home, and then it's harder to have a large program. Like I said, you're going to be limited to how many dogs you have unless you just, okay with having 16 dogs in an apartment. You know what I'm saying? Running around the house. You know what I mean? If you want to be a dog lady or a dog man, I don't know. If that's what you like, that's on you. But it's definitely harder to scale like larger programs. If you got big dreams, man, you can't have a whole bunch of dogs running around the crib knocking you out all over the place. Especially if you got the XL bullies. You know what I mean? You might have a dog in your fridge eating and drinking your milk up and stuff like that, and then some other dog watching your TV. So you just have no control.
Milk and cookies.
Right, exactly. Why you in the? Every time I'm in the kitchen, why you in the kitchen? Yeah, you know what I mean. So, Bradley, what's some indoor things you can't stand? Like just some things that's like, dang man, this makes it so rough to have y'all in the house.
You hit on it, man. Just keeping it clean, right? Because we're clean. We're clean freaks, clean people anyway, right? Proper hygiene, stuff like that. Keeping them bathed, keeping them.
Not all of us. Not all of us. Let's just say
we are over here.
Okay.
Right? And it is. It's a constant, right? Especially my wife has a full-time job. I have a full-time job. I do work from home, so I can help out quite a bit, but it's a constant, right? There's never any downtime, and if you're having downtime, you're sitting there thinking about what you should be doing, right, to clean and to get things in order, keep things in order. So it's a constant. There's never, and that's just with. So we've had a couple Frenchies for a while. We got 2 puppies now, right? And I think like you said, the more we add, it will not be inside the home, right? It'll be an inside facility that we're working on now. Not that we won't have another one or one in here. I think the wife and the kids have kind of taken to Chama pretty hard already. So he's kind of won them over. Man, that dude's big, but he's sweet. He's a sweet. He'll get right there and lay with them, right? He's gonna be a good one. But yeah, the more you get, the more that we have. There'll be a line drawn somewhere. They do. You have to watch them. Have to keep eyes on them, especially as pups. You have to keep them chew toys, things like that. Their feeding area, their water area, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay messy. You're gonna have to keep cleaned up behind them. They will. They'll chew through cabinets. They'll chew through crown mold. Anything that they can get to chew, they'll chew. So we keep all kind of chew toys, bones, ropes, right? Everything for, and then they'll turn their nose up to it, and you'll look, and they'll be chewing on a couch or a shoe or something, right? Anything that they know they're not supposed to have. So one of my big ones is with the dog hair, right? I limit them. Even we have a screened in on the back porch. So if I'm out there grilling or something like that, cooking, the dogs are not. I can't stand it coming over shaking and hair. If you see them shake when the sun's hitting them, I mean, it lets off pet dander and hair, and so I'm not about to be eating and picking dog hair. So we do draw lines personally when we're cooking and things of that nature, whether it's outside or inside. We'll keep them locked off. Personal space for us, as I said, we've always crate trained and had very good luck with that. A crate is never a punishment, right? So that crate becomes their comfort space. So our dogs can go get in their crates at any point in time that we tell them crate up, right? And then they're in there and we can close the door and we have our freedom, whenever we want it or need it. So that's one benefit that we get out of the crate training is we do have limitations in space. They don't sleep in the beds with us or nothing like that. So that's
how dare you.
Yeah, I like that. That's for sure. Yeah, man. I think in all, and I'm pretty sure we're all singing from the same sheet of music when I say this. A lot of the truth is, like, I feel like the best programs, they use both. I think having a hybrid setup is the most elite version of that. for multiple reasons. And then we obviously touched on it, here during this live, obviously indoor for puppies, indoor for recovery, special cases, separating your dogs, like Earl talked about, cleanliness, outdoor for adult dogs, you know what I mean, that have more structure and they understand how to act when they're outside and not get into a whole bunch of stuff. And then just kennel management. It gives you more flexibility and control when your dog is in that hybrid setup. You know what I mean? So that I think the best programs, they do use both, because you could still technically be hybrid, because like a lot of these like big programs, they have little dog houses, they have dog whole facilities where they have like the drainage where they go to sleep, and then they have the doors in and out like Earl has and how he was talking about. And it's just all right. You got cameras on every angle of each kennel and stuff like that, and it gives them the best of both worlds, and then it keeps your peace of mind in your home. So you give your dog the best of an indoor-outdoor environment. And I mean, that to me, that's the most elite, version of all that. You know what I mean? Puppies for sure is super sensitive, man. You need you need perfect temperature. You need constant, it's every second monitoring, protection. They're so frail at these young ages. And oh my goodness, if you breed or know how breeders work, them first 3 weeks are hell on earth until they open up them eyes, man. Oh my goodness. Like, you know what I mean? And even after that, they can get sick in no time. You know what I mean? And environmental stress can play a factor as well. But the indoor-outdoor method gives you that full control over whatever development stage they're into. Whether you're trying to teach them the fundamentals of how to be outside or inside, you got the best of both worlds. You're winning, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Outdoor is for structure, like Big John said, conditioning, you know what I mean? Long-term management, different training, environmentals, like Big John stated, and everything like that. Hearing different sounds, like desensitization, all that. Teaching your dogs like boundaries in indoor and outdoor behavior. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is obviously our mental health and stability. You know what I mean? These dogs are definitely a lot when it comes to that. They weigh a lot on our mental health, a lot on our, our emotions and how we go about our day to day. So if we make their lives easier to make our lives easier, I mean, it's a win-win. You reduce anxiety, destructive behaviors that might, occur. Overstimulation, like I say, you watching the ball game, you jump up in the air and drop something on the ground. Now your dog's running around like somebody just shot up the whole house or something like that. You know what I mean? They think somebody breaking in. They don't know what the hell is going on. Right. You know what I mean? So it's just more rest for everybody. It's easier to create a routine. It's funny. I always bring up the story like, when my dogs come in the house after using the bathroom and we tell them to go to their crate, like Bradley said, I got 3 different dogs here at the crib. So it's funny because everybody got their own crate. It's like moving traffic. They know at this point when they use the bathroom, it's like pew, pew, pew. They all go separate directions. Some might run into each other, but they know how to get to that crate. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's so cool. I really want to make a video like showing that because they don't get confused. You know what I mean? They don't get confused. They know I could have a crate over there, crate over there, crate over there, and they know exactly where to go. You know what I mean? And that right there is not only making your dog stronger, but it's creating those boundaries, that stability, all that good stuff. I've seen some people send me pictures of their dogs up on the kitchen counter. Not in my house. I'm sorry.
No, sir.
They better not be on that.
It happened one time.
Yeah, it'd be the last time, right, Bradley?
No,
yeah, man.
So here's what I would say, right? For both sides on the Insta family, YouTube family. Number one, when I was just a pet owner, I always had a dog door and a fenced-in yard. Those are two non-negotiables for me. So even when I didn't breed, and I just had 2, 3, 4 dogs, and I was at a point where I had 5 dogs at one time. They all were able to go outside, use the bathroom, come back in, hang out, get some sun. You know what I mean? Just to me, having a dog and allowing the dog to have those basic freedoms to be able to go outside and be a dog was a non-negotiable as a pet owner. Now, let's relay that over to breeding. There's a lot of these of our viewers are breeders on both sides of the channel, YouTube and Instagram. Some of you guys spend all your money on dogs, 0 on facility.
It's an investment. You got to protect your investment.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's a problem though, and I know that. I know some of you guys probably have 30 dogs in the house, 15 to 20 of them in the basement, especially the smaller classes, right? People with smaller class dogs. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of each class, but you know what I'm talking about. Because XL is a different dog. You got to have space. But the smaller class dogs, you could easily have 20, 30 dogs in a basement. And I think that if I'm weighing in, obviously there's the cleanliness of facility, the smells, the odors, the sanitation. But if I'm weighing in, I don't think that you are giving that dog the quality of life.
No.
Right? If you have 30 dogs in a basement that never see the sun and they're just in their cage and they poo and pee on the drop, you know what I mean? On the drop screen where you pick it up from underneath. I think if that's your situation, I'm not here to judge what anyone else does, but I think that's not quite right. You know what I mean? I feel like a dog should be able to run around and have space and get fresh air and sun. So if that's you, man, I don't necessarily agree with you, my guy.
I feel like if I trap them in there for too long, they're gonna revolt against me like prison breaking. When they get out, they're gonna have a whole plan how to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't think for 1 second that you go to show and you see all these dog people, you don't think that's the situation in some of these homes?
Oh, for sure. And it was funny that you say that. When you say that, Earl,
stacked on each other.
Yeah, I noticed that at the first show I went to, I was listening to one of the handlers talk to somebody at the show, and they were like, "You got to get him out the kennel more," because she could tell based off the dog's behavior that this dog does not spend that much time outside the kennel. And if you are in the show ring, it shows. People are going to see that. They're going to notice that dog spends a lot of time in there.
Wow.
Yeah, if I had to choose, if you told me I could one or the other, outside. Definitely. I mean, it goes back to natural habitat, right? That's what they're. I've had inside dogs, inside pets for years, right? And even the inside pets, and even getting time outside every day, they'll sit inside and just they you can see there. And I set a cup down on the table, and they think it's somebody knocking, right? They look for those sounds. That's their natural. They'll be looking just and see a car go down the road and just automatically, right? So they want that. That's good for their mental state. That's good for their physical state and everything else. So, I mean, if I had to choose, and it was to me outside, that's just their natural habitat, right? That's what they're really, really supposed to be. So,
correct.
Well, I think the point that I was making, regardless of what size your dog is that inside or outside, and you can have both. But if you have more dogs than you can manage, and what I mean is manage with quality care, everyone gets their vaccinations, everyone gets proper nutrition and is fed, not on rotation, cleanliness, dog grooming, all these things that we're talking about, controlling environment, right? If you have all those things, but you're, basically you stuffing 30 dudes in a two-door car, it still doesn't work. You know what I mean? And so kind of that is I have heard and have seen some over where the space is not matching to the amount of dogs you have, right? Yeah. And I think that because of revenues, because of a lot of things that, whether you're indoor or outdoor and you're not really managing, you can't manage what you have in terms of nutrition, sanitation, cleanliness, and everything else. I think that's the bigger problem, right? So indoor or outdoor is a thing of environment, where you live in the country, also your management skills, your SOPs for your kennel. That's one thing. And then another thing is, most of us need that one friend to say, "Hey, bro, you kind of over the top with it." You know what I mean? You're about 5 dogs heavy.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, and not to talk down on anybody, it's easy to get there.
It's very easy to get there. Yeah, absolutely.
Many dogs, it's very easy to get there, man. But I mean, depending on your lifestyle, like for me, my wife and I, like you said, Brad, we full-time job. So I have to have enough time to, if I do have to go in the office, I have to come home, change my clothes. I immediately go out back. Now, I let dogs out that all my dogs right now can run around together. The only time that I have to separate is when one of the females are in heat, of course. So while they're running around, I'm on poo patrol. I'm cleaning all the kennels, getting all the poo out, getting up the soiled straw or cedar chips, dumping those in the can. Then I'm coming back with the water hose and the disinfectant, and I got a big old scrub brush. I'm scrubbing the deck floors. I'm scrubbing the they call horse stable mats. I got those in my kennels too. I'm scrubbing those down. Then I'm hosing all of that down. You know what I'm saying? So that takes about 20 minutes per kennel because I let it sit for about 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I let the soap or whatever sit for about 10 minutes, kind of disinfect. So it's a process, man. You gotta now if I'm sitting over here with 15 dogs, you really think I'm gonna be able to do that every evening when I get home, bro? So something is gonna slack. So guess what? Probably end up slacking is the cleanliness part. Because you know what I mean?
Feed them at least, right? The most,
you know what I mean?
So nothing else, you're gonna feed a dog.
You gotta think about that, man. So is having a bunch of dogs, man, can be cool, but it can get you in a lot of trouble too, man, and in so many different ways. So you have to be wise, whether it's indoor or outdoor. Like if you got indoor, of course, a lot of times you can, depending on the size of the dogs, you may be able to hold more. You know, if you don't have a hybrid, guess what? You got to release all them dogs. You got to get them out of them kennels and let them run around. All my dogs run around minimum an hour every day. I don't care. The only time they don't get an hour is if it's raining. If it's cold, if it's hot, I got to be out there to manage them.
Yeah.
And they get their full hour. Man, I give me a lawn chair and I give me a couple of tennis balls. And I sit there and get to just throwing tennis balls and let them get their get their exercise, man. That's what they need. Pay the cost to be the boss, man. You got to be out there. If it's just drizzling, I'm out there and it's drizzling. I'm getting wet. They don't care about no drizzle. They out there playing, having a good time, getting their exercise. Hot,
right?
I'm baking. I'm sweating. If it's cold for me and ain't cold for them, I'm still giving them their hour. I just layer up. So it's a responsibility, man, and you have to be wise in the things that you're doing. If you can only manage 5 dogs, please just only have 5 dogs.
Right.
Yeah, that's my thing.
And you can only manage 5. What's the point of that?
Yeah, man. You could be living on 30 acres of land, but if you can only manage 5 dogs, just manage 5 dogs.
That's it. That's it.
I only want to have dogs to you know, the level of quality that I keep my dogs at. You know, there's a limit to what I can have because I have my standards of care.
Yep.
And if I can't hit my standard of care, I need to reduce. And guess what? I never even have to get there because I know what that level is.
Yep.
And so it's like I'm never going to surpass. I'm never going to forgo the care of the dog to my standard, below my standard, for the sake of having more dogs. And I think that's, if we're addressing this issue, I think that's the bigger part of our, you know, the things that are not talked about up front, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, everyone talks about their pedigrees, right? How does your dog live? What does your dog eat? What does, you know, if I pet your dog, do I got to wash my hands? How bad does this dog smell? You know what I mean? Does the dog get its annual shots? So, you know,
let's
while
talk
everyone's
about it.
talking about pedigrees and I got this and I got that, bro, wait till I pull up. Let me pull up at your house and let me see what your house smells like. How about that? You know what I mean? Like if I walk in your house and I walk out of there with fur socks, you know what I mean? It's the thing, right? Everyone preaches it, man, but trust me, I seen some of you guys at show, bro. I mean, do you look bad? I know your dog ain't showering, and you know what I mean. Like,
Damn.
I'm just saying, man. If you smell, I know your dog smells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen you guys at the shows, man. I'm gonna shame you right now. I've seen you guys pull up. Your dog takes a shit. You walk right past it like no, it didn't take a shit. And somebody else steps on it and drags all that shit right in front of your booth. Man, look.
Yeah, man. And you see where we're getting at. We're all wrapping up, the overall topic of indoor versus outdoor with the
Oh, wait,
whole
wait,
thing of
that same person whose dog took a shit and didn't pick it up, and then somebody stepped on it, and then there's shit all over in front of their booth. This is the same person going to tell us their house is spotless, right? with
Exactly.
30 dogs in the basement. Man, get your ass out of here.
Exactly. So look, in total, it's about responsible kennel ownership. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if you got indoor or outdoor. There are non-negotiables of this shit. Clean up after your dog. Like Earl said, if you're not washing your own ass, I know you're not washing your dog's ass.
You're not.
You know what I'm saying? So it rubs off. Clean
That's
water.
It shows.
Yeah, right. Clean water. Like Big John said, the water supply got to be clean. You got to clean the kennels. Proper shelter. You know what I'm saying? The daily exercise, like Big John said, it ain't hard. You can sit in a chair, like he said, just throw the tennis balls. Yep. Daily inspection, proper nutrition. We talked about that before. Medical care, all that. Like your kennel reflects your standards. You know what I'm saying?
Your kids reflect your standards. I see some of y'all kids at shows. Dude, cut it out. Cut it out. I've seen your kids at shows.
You talking about the babies.
I'm just saying, I've seen your badass kids running around the show, bro. You telling me you clean up after, man, get your ass out of here. Shame on you. You make us look bad, man.
For sure.
Your kids, and you're going to tell me you manage your dogs better than your kids? Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. Oh, we got a couple questions. I want to definitely grab some questions.
Too.
I'm going to grab. They said... Elijah Jackson's photo. He asked, "How can you tell a dog hasn't got enough time outside at shows?" Earl, you have the most experience with dog shows. I will definitely let you answer that one.
How can I tell if a dog hasn't gotten enough time outside? Okay, so outside is a different environment than a dog show. A dog show is unnatural. Tell me a place that you go to where there's 250 dogs and freaking 500 people. You know what I mean? And loud. It's just, you can't create that environment anywhere else. You go to Home Depot with your dog, there's maybe another dog there. You go to PetSmart, there might maybe 2 or 3 dogs there. If we're talking about just strictly show, if a dog hasn't been to show, of course the dog's going to be a little skittish, a little nervous, but a dog that's confident will trust in the person holding the leash. A dog that's not so confident will trust you if you're holding the leash. Therefore, getting your dogs to show at an earlier age, even if they're not competing, even if you're just doing a fun show and walking them up and down the aisle, getting them acclimated to the environment is super important if you really want to pursue titling your dog and competing at shows. Now, how can I tell if a dog hasn't been outside? Generally speaking, you see it. The dog's tail is cupped in. The dog, instead of the dog being confident, the dog is like, the head is down on the dog. The posture is, the dog is not walking like this. The dog is like this, like walking behind on the side of the owner. So it's one question that's really 2 different questions. And so now there are dogs that are just, what's the word?
Timid, naturally timid.
Yeah, just timid or cautious. You know what I mean? And not all dogs are meant to go to show, unfortunately.
Right.
So it is.
Some dogs, like I have a dog that looks phenomenal, doesn't like people touching her, strangers.
Yep.
I'm going to get flagged by the judge. The judge is going to be like, you're not training your dog. No, my dog just doesn't like strangers walking up behind you and touching her because it's unnatural. If I walked behind you and touched you in the back of your neck and ran my hands down your back, you'd probably turn around, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an unnatural thing, especially for a working class dog. It's one thing to let the owner do it. It's another thing to allow a stranger to do that.
Right.
So, just understanding, there's a lot of caveats behind what we do and just really understanding your dog, Sometimes the dog that you think that's it is just doesn't like to be outside, doesn't like to be touched. But certainly the things we can do is proper socialization. Taking your dogs to show at an early age, exposing them to all the loudness, the speakers,
The people.
the people, all the other dogs, letting strangers touch your dog, all that stuff is good for your dog.
Yep.
If you want to pursue a tiling competition.
Yeah. There you go.
So getting off topic just a little bit. So do you allow anyone and everyone to pet your dogs at all these shows? Because I've heard opposite, just due to health concerns and stuff like that. But I was just asking that question because I've never been to a show with you. So
No, that's why you guys are able to come here and touch my dogs.
yep,
Because I want people to be able to touch my dogs for the show.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's me specifically as a person who is a competitor. No.
Yeah.
Homeowner, hell no, I don't want you touching my dog. I want my dog to sound off if you come to my house, but unfortunately, that's a different kind of dog. So if I want that kind of dog, I would buy a different breed for that purpose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's not out of the question for me. I do want a dog like that.
Yeah, because then the judges, when they come on and feel all over your dog at them shows, your dog got to be ready for that. So that's where the training comes in when we go visit Earl's dog and stuff like that. You want to be able to have the right person that's supposed to be touching on your dog do that, because they ain't never seen that judge before. And when they go over there and grab on a dog, grab on their tail, touch them underneath their leg, and just rub them down and grab your dog by the nuts. You know what I mean? You don't know how that dog's gonna react to that. You know what I mean? Some of them judges be a little too filly. You know what I'm saying? Let me grab my dog's nuts. But hey, man, it's cool, man. Do what you do.
See, that's some East Coast boys. They got them big judges up there.
Hey, look, no, he might be onto something, because it's the second show I didn't seen that. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to take shots. If that's what y'all trained to do as judges, okay. But when y'all put your hands on the cow's nuts, I was a little bit offended. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little worried.
Turn his head and cough.
Give me all the reach around, boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We gotta watch these East Coast shows, man. You gotta be careful, man. If they got gloves on, you already know they up to no good. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But
we got one that's off topic here. Mr. Black Dollars says,
it's a good one though. It's a real good one.
Y'all agree with rehoming your foundation dogs in order to make space for capacity limited dogs you can hold? Or would you rather keep your foundation dogs until they die of old age? Sir, as a breeder, it's an unnecessary evil.
Yeah.
Take your materials you buy to create your Gen 1. That's the whole purpose of being strategic with the dogs that you acquire to build your first gen. Those dogs are not, okay, when you're saying those dogs are foundation dogs, they are not foundation dogs. Your foundational dogs are your Gen 1. Those dogs that you purchase to make your Gen 1 dogs are the ingredients to what you're cooking, what you're baking. Right. Your Gen 1 is your first step towards your vision, or maybe you only have one step. I have a multiple tier step of the vision that I'm trying to follow, and therefore my Gen 1s are going to be the foundation if I hit correctly. If I hit correctly. And if I don't hit correctly, guess what? There's now my first gen that I produce is not even my Gen 1 yet. Because it didn't go the way I wanted it to. Right. So the difference of what you think and what it is are two different things. And, everyone's like, oh, man, I'm going to change the game. Oh, this dog is going to change the game. And wait till I breed this dog to this dog. And it's like, dude, you won't know until that dog is 18 months to 24 months. So what are you talking about? So when somebody tells me they're going to change the game and, off of one dog, off of one breeding, and we haven't seen the dog at 2 or 3 years that they produced off the change the game, that to me sounds off inexperience. That sounds good because everyone says that. Who here breeds and says, I'm not going to change the game? Wait till I breed my dogs. I'm not going to change the game. I'm going to breed less than or equal to what's out there. No, everyone says they're going to produce something better, right?
Yeah.
No one goes out here and says, I'm going to produce something equal to or less than what's out there.
Right.
Find me one person that actually says that. and I'll show you 90% of people actually produce equal to or less than,
Fair
which is
point.
the reality of this breeding industry, right? Because if that were true, I wouldn't even be here.
Mhm.
How about that? I
Yeah.
wouldn't be breeding.
So for the sake of Black Dollar's question, I think it's more so of if you produce, like Earl said, what you're looking for. If you're not, if you have, let's say you do have your foundation dog. Um, if you outproduce them, or if you take it up a notch, that's when I will rehome my quote unquote foundation dog, because at some point you go run out of space keeping your production. So you have to produce something that's better than your quote unquote foundation dog, and then you can move on. That's my opinion.
Okay, I agree to that partially, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why. Because you outproduce that dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you rehome that dog. Let's say it's a stud. You
Mm-hmm.
rehome that dog with breeding rights, because somewhere along your project, sometimes you take a left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, you got to
Look
come
at the
back.
dog, and I'm like, dude, how did I end up here? And guess
Yeah.
where you got to go back to? That foundational dog that you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like, rehoming is part of, in my mind, depending on the dog, is part of breeding rights. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, correct.
we like,
100%.
hey, buddy, you can have nah, nah. It's gonna be some stipulations just in case I gotta come back around. You know what I mean?
No, my
Yeah.
man. Hey, look, Black Dolls, what is your first name first and foremost? I like your questions. This is probably the first time I've seen you on here on YouTube comments. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your questions.
Yep.
So I like the level of questions you're asking, because you're not giving me 3 minutes to reply to you, or else you're leaving the chat. Shouts out to the 3-minute man. Hey, look, bro, I got it. The 3-minute man. Shouts out to you. But Mr. Black Dolls, I'd like to know your first name. I'd like to be on a first name basis with you, because I like the kind of questions you're asking. Those are the kind of questions gets me engaged. So I appreciate you for commenting, my friend. And I'd like to
Yes,
know
sir.
you by your first name.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Damn. Well, I mean, what y'all think? Y'all think we should go a little bit deeper, or you think that was a good?
No, let's say hi to everybody, man. We got AC in the house, Shaka Bullies, my friend Samba Kennels, Poppy Kennels, Chris. Who we got here? House Kilimanjaro. Okay. He says good morning. House Kilimanjaro. I'm assuming Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Damn.
Who we got here? Ish is in here. We got Ish in here. We got some in Florida, Gohan. Just want to shout out some people and say hello. We're paying attention, guys. Of course, Tennessee's in the house. See who else we got here on Insta. Kenneth _ Coker. Hey, good evening to you, my friend. Moosey Trembo Bulls. Pardon me if I'm murdering these names. Bullies Bold. Lore _ Leap. Junebug. Immortal Bullies. Eddie Perez. Oh, Eddie. What's up, Eddie? King Macho. Man, that's a double verbal noun. He's a king and he's macho.
That's a hell of a name, yeah.
Bro, that's hyper. With a name like King Macho, bro, you gotta have a 6-pack. See, I don't put that kind of pressure on myself.
Holy shit.
I'm just saying, you can't be king and macho, bro. Bro, you gotta have a 6-pack. You gotta have a full head of hair. Like, that's a lot of pressure. I already got enough to deal with in my life. But I like the name, my friend. So I hope you're killing it. I'm just saying, dude. That's a tough ass name. On the YouTube side, we got Jam Sue Kennels. Okay, Jam Sue Kennels. Mr. Black Dollars, of course. We're waiting for your first name, sir. Elijah Jackson, of course. Mr. Music. Charles, man, how's he doing, man? How's Prime doing?
Hey.
Pastor's son. That's pretty clear what he is, right?
Don
Don,
Love.
Upper Deck Frenchies. Just want to shout out to everybody, man. We're paying attention to you guys. Dee Dee, what's up, Dee Dee? Dee Dee is Samba. Hold on. The Florida South. Dee Dee's
The South.
No,
Midwest.
she's Rock River Samba River Rock. Hi, Dee Dee. Good evening to you. Upper Deck Frenchies. We already shouted
Old
out.
school Nick. Old school
School
Nick.
Nick, what's happening? Old school Nick with a headband, bro. Is that the Mr. Miyagi headband you got going there? That's it. I'm rocking the Mr. Miyagi next week.
Oh God.
B&B Prime. There he is. Okay. What's up, Prime? Boy, hey, Prime is living his best life over there.
There he is.
Bro, Red River. Okay. Samba Red River. And then, of course, we had Mama Samba on here earlier. I think she left. But good evening to you anyway. So, yeah, man. In terms of indoor and outdoor kennels, man, I believe in both. I'm more of an outdoor kennel kind of guy. But because of where I'm at and where my demographics, I got to have the hybrid system.
Oh, yeah.
Which I like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the goal, right? Ultimately, it's to have a strong operating system, your SOPs, to, kennel management, your nutrition, your sanitation, all these things. And of course, having the amount of dogs that's manageable for you. Some of us work full time, some of us don't. Some of us are dog hoarders. I've seen that. And really, in our movement in trying to better the community, it's bringing topics to light that's relevant, because maybe somebody needs to hear this message tonight, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I got to step up my kennel game. Quality of care, right? So, and how does that relate, right? Let me tie that in. That relates when somebody actually wants to see your dogs and pick up a dog from you. And you're charging $1 billion, because that's what all bully people charge for their dogs. $1 billion. And then they show up and it smells like and the fur and the, someone can't even breathe in there because of the dander. You don't equal to the value that you're putting out. And that's a message that you need to hear, right? As much as it may hurt some of us, it's one, dog sales are competitive, right? Two, your production's pricing should be equal to your body of work, should be equal to your pedigree, should be equal to what you stand on, your values, and your facility. Specifically for tonight's episode, your facility is the direct reflection of you.
Amen.
And therefore, when you see it, you can't unsee it, right?
Yep.
And now you're saying, man, the industry's tough. It ain't sweet out here like that. It's
Nope.
Dogs don't. Is it that, or is it you? Right? Or is it that you just, you got 10 times Godzilla and you've been selling your dogs and you've never reinvested into your program to update your facility?
Amen. I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
with that
So
for
it's
sure.
kind of like the relevance of the topic tonight is, as dog breeders, we can't just keep breeding for free, right? We have to make sales. That's part of this industry. The money part of this industry is real. So you can't afford good dogs. You can't afford better dogs, right? All of us start somewhere. You might have a lesser dog. You might have a lesser facility. However, your vision and your dream is as big as your heart and your commitment to this thing. And you don't have to start on top to be great.
Right.
But you got to have a vision to be great to get on top. And you can't do that with 30 dogs and 200 square feet, and your dogs don't even see sunlight. That's the whole point that we're trying to bring up tonight. Why the importance of the sun and the this and the camera and the feed and the poo management and the cleanup is for you to understand that, hey man, you got to get with the program here. You know, you have to operate at the level that you want people to respect your program at and buy your dogs for. And if that does not match, right, I'm not going to walk into a dollar store and pay $5,000 for a Gucci purse, man. That's not where it belongs.
Yep.
I'm going to a dollar store. I'm buying something for $1, some foil pens, soap. You know what I mean? Like maybe essentials. So in saying these things, man, we're really trying to bring awareness to you guys. Now, we're not criticizing anybody here. What we're saying is, hey, man, listen to this message and look around you. Look at your kennel.
Yep. Because that's what we do.
Yep.
That's what we do. We got different dynamics. 2 homes,
Yes.
2 in-house, 1 hybrid, 1 outside. I mean, we got all of them sitting right here. And we discuss the pros and the cons of each. But in all of them is the management part that you got to do. Any of them can work.
Yep. You heard him.
Any of them can work.
Yeah, man.
So the problem is that we pocket that money and then we spend it on ourselves. We don't reinvest in our program.
Oh yeah.
But we want the program to grow. How does something grow if you don't feed it? It's real fundamentally basic, right? How does anything grow if you don't feed it?
Look, man, I hit Earl up the other day. So we was talking about productions and things upcoming, you know, that we're trying to do, that I'm trying to do personally with my program under the Sumo umbrella. And man, I said, yo, Earl, buying the facility, that was the easy part, fellas. That was the easy part. It was the most expensive part, but it was the easy part because all I had to do was buy it and have it delivered. Now, it comes the sweat equity part. Putting a rubber ceiling on the floor, putting the insulation in, getting the electricity run from my house to the building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ceiling fans, the window units that run heat and AC. I got to get 2 of those. You know what I'm saying? I got to put walls up. Then I got to build the kennels on the inside of the facility. That's just part of this.
Now that you're doing that, now you kind of can appreciate my facility more, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, damn, he put it together. Like,
yeah.
If you go back to my old stuff, you'll see it when I was doing it from nothing. Like,
right.
It was literally me building all this stuff, man. My wife's like,
but I say all that to say is because you said it earlier. Everybody got to start from somewhere.
Right.
Everybody got to start from somewhere. Mark, you said it another thing earlier. Whether it's the inside, the outside, or the hybrid, there's no wrong way.
No.
Nope.
You got to get in where you fit in, but the part that you fully control is the management. Is the management of it, the maintenance, and how you taking care of the dogs, man. Period.
For sure, man. And you know, and overall, it's outdoor kennels are excellent when you properly built it right and manage it right. Indoor kennels are amazing, you know, when it's properly managed. Like the best choice, you know, it depends on your goals, your setup, and your commitment for sure. Like, what is your commitment level? You got to gauge that. You know what I mean? What are you committed to doing? That goes to say with how many dogs you got. You know what I mean? All that good stuff all wraps into this topic. At the end of the day, you know, structure, care, responsibility, all matter more than, you know, what location, whether it's indoor or outdoor. That doesn't matter. It's your structure, your care, your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We definitely, you know, appreciate y'all weighing in on this for sure. And, you know, as we continue to grow and stuff like that, also, you know, you can reach out to us anytime about setups. And, you know, Earl has done a couple of videos on YouTube. You can go back to, you know, the start of his facility. He's done facility updates and things of that nature. And we're all going to get into those types of videos too at our different locations. and we're just gonna help each other improve our environmentals. You know what I mean? And as we post these videos, you might have questions. Reach out, ask us what works for indoor or outdoor setup or hybrid setup, or where Earl gets some of this stuff, and how did he build this and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like we all have different avenues on this, but we all have the same goal of creating structure and managing it properly. So I mean,
Yes.
we're always available for your questions. It doesn't only have to be on this live. So we're always here, man.
No, I like what you said about commitment,
Yeah.
because I'm committed to this 7 days a week, and I don't
Yep.
care what day you pull up on me. It's going to be the same as any other day, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
For
you
sure.
catch me before the feed? Did you catch me before the cleanup?
Right.
But it happens every day. It doesn't stop.
Routine.
It's a routine, my friend. Like, hold up, have a seat. Let me get through my, you know what I mean?
My dogs don't normally bark, but if they hear my truck or my wife's car pull up, that's when you're gonna hear them, because they know somebody coming outside. I mean, it's routine. They hear that car, they know somebody coming. Even if it's my wife just standing on the deck calling their name. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, this thing can be as sweet as you want.
I didn't even go hard on this topic, man, because you picked a topic that is really
it's deep, man.
All
these topics are deep.
Topics, man.
Yeah, and I think that's good though, because we leave the audience still asking questions and want more. That's why I know we talked about in the past we might need to do part 2s and re-up on some of these topics, because they're just so vast. You know what I mean? Like you walk away with questions from this, like how many dogs do you currently have? Indoor, outdoor, hybrid. You know what I mean? What's your biggest challenge right now? Are you planning to expand or downsize? You know what I mean? So. We will swing back and do part 2s. I know we talked about that earlier. I think it would definitely be a good idea.
Because you guys are going to be, we got Ish that's relocating. We got you that's looking for property.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for you guys to understand, kind of generally speaking, without going into detail, we got Marky looking at properties this year.
Yes, sir.
We got Ish looking to relocate. We got John, who just had his facility delivered. Now he's got to outfit it out. We got Bradley doing the same thing shortly. He's going to have his facility built. I got my hybrid system, and I'm looking to move in a year and a half because I'm out of space. I need a bigger space. In order for me to do more, I need to operate in a bigger area.
Right.
And so the growth has pushed me to have to move. Which is a blessing, and I'm very thankful for that. And it's just part of how this goes, man. But at the same time, I've also seen people who have been doing this way longer than me just there, and I'm just like, man, and then you wonder why. You know. So Mr. Black Dolls, man, I like this dude. You got to give me your first name, dude. What's your first name, man?
Nah, he pulled some good ones.
That was a great question.
I like those questions.
Honestly, I think that's a topic from when we were talking about stud dogs. We didn't get to.
You can go back and watch some of those, man.
We didn't get to the other side of it, like the females, right? And then so if you the females is do you have a brood female? Do you know what I mean? What is a good foundation? What is your foundation? How do you establish a foundation? Are you trying to establish your own line? Like it's man, all of our topics, we could take them so many different ways. And I really think we just scratched the surface on a lot of these topics that we brought up. We've been bringing up over the last month and a half. So
right.
We can go back and have part 2s, part 3s on a lot of them.
Well, just so you guys know, if you go on the channel and you go on our lives, all our lives are recorded. You can rewatch them.
Yep.
And so, if ever you want to like go back on a certain topic, man, they're all on there. And I put them up so that, because sometimes people are like, hey, man, I'm going to miss the live. I'm working. I'm like, don't worry, man. It's going to be recorded. You don't get to ask your questions live, but you get to at least listen to it. which the whole point is to hold each other accountable, to help each other as breeders in this community, to raise the level, raise the bar of how we operate.
Yeah.
And really, this is the Sumo Bully Kennels family contribution to our community. And so for us, we need to talk about these things. And I love the topics that these guys bring, and they just never just pick a layup, man. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, man.
It's a great topic, Mark, man, but
Thanks,
it's
man.
certainly one that, I could easily go on the tangent and go an hour in.
For days.
But generally speaking, it's really how well it's managed, regardless of where it's at. And,
For sure.
And obviously it has to fit whatever capacity that you can handle, whether that's 1 dog, 10 dogs, 50 dogs. Because you see this stuff on the news all the time, man. If you guys pay attention to that, you'll see stuff on the news where people get busted for dog fighting ring or pet hoarder, or it's just poo and pee and ammonia smell, and it's just like, oh my God, man,
it's bad. Yeah, man,
it is bad. And I think that when we are proud to show how we run things at our spots as we grow, it's a testament that we are being transparent and ethical about what we're doing.
For sure.
To pull the curtain back and for people to see what's behind there, right? And not just see the magic trick in front of the curtain.
Right.
And as a person buying something, I would want to see that.
Right.
Because that's important to me, because that does affect the dog's temperament. And so understanding that temperament is passed on to the puppies to a certain extent, it still matters. Environment definitely is a big factor, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's also true for people, for kids growing up.
That's right.
Right? It's how you raise them. It's nurture versus nature.
Yep.
And so, hell of a topic, man.
Yeah, man.
Who's next week?
Ish.
I don't know if it's Ish or me. I think it's Ish, and then I'm after Ish.
Yes, Ish.
Okay, we're gonna find out what Ish wants to bring up next week. But man, you guys just don't pick light ones, man. I'll tell you. No easy conversations at Sumo Bully Kennels there.
No, man, we go hard.
Got to.
So that's it. I think we answered everyone's concern. I think we covered the topic thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think so.
Do you want to kind of give us just a quick summary on the debate, indoor and outdoor, so we can close it out?
Sure. Yeah. So like we said, man, like just to wrap it up, like it doesn't matter where you have it. It's about where you have it up here, like in your brain, and what you want to instill in your camp and in your household. We bring it up like it's raising your kids, because it is like raising your kids. Everything that you do for your dogs has got to come from the heart, man. The environment that you raise them in there will be a product of that environment. So at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are up to date on the structure and our commitment is there. A lot of people get into this dog stuff for different reasons, whether you just want a pet, whether you want to go to show, whether you want to breed. That's the first step. Figure out why you want a dog. What's your reason? What's your why? And then build on that. You know what I mean? That defines what your structure is going to be for your camp, whether it's indoor or outdoor. So, that's kind of what my vision was for this talk. And I think we hit on great points, because it went from a versus, pros and cons, and we started out doing that, but then we kind of tied it all in together and said, after all, it's not really a versus. These things should go hand in hand, because the best programs can do both. At the end of the day, we can be versatile. We have show dogs, we have dogs that can breed, and we have, dogs that are pets as well. That's us. We're able to be versatile. We're able to do multiple things, and, not just stick to one lane, and we're able to do it well because we're committed. We're disciplined. And once you get that structure going, what looks like it might be impossible for others is child's play for us because we're just already, fine tuned into doing that and taking care of it. You know what I mean? So, it's all about structure and how you structure it. Whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to do with your dog, just be a responsible, kennel owner and a dog owner. Do the responsible things. Outline the non-negotiables that we talked about here. Create non-negotiables for yourself and for your dogs, and then live by that. Let that be your Bible and the stuff that you do to raise, your dogs like they're one of your own, because they are one of your own, no matter what your desire is for them. So, indoor or outdoor, there are always going to be pros and cons. But the one thing that we can all agree on is there is a way to take care of your kennel, and there's a way not to do it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
John, you want to sign off on this one?
Well, as usual, I want to thank our Insta crew and our YouTube family for stopping by. YouTube family, y'all brought some interesting topics. Salute to everybody on there. Mr. Black Dollars, hopefully we see you again, man. You brought some interesting topics up. As a matter of fact, one of us gonna have to cover that that foundation and when do you pet home. I think that's gonna be a good topic I think we should get that one to Earl. We're gonna get that one to Earl.
Man, look.
So he can handle that one. And I think that was a good one. But Marky, good topic, bro. Good way to come through with some good talking points and cross reference and stuff like that, man. You brought the heat. It was a great topic that we needed to discuss, man. And hopefully we spark some interest in whoever is on here, whether you have an indoor facility, whether it's in your house, or whether you have an outside or a hybrid. I would just like to remind everybody, man, that it's about, I think old school Nick said it on here, just like everything else in life, what you put into it is what you go get out.
You get out. Yep.
So
Amen.
you're going to have to get out there in those days when it's raining. Those dogs still need to eat. You're going to have to get out there when it's 22 degrees out there. Dogs still need to eat. You got to pick up the frozen food. Just because it's frozen, that don't mean you don't pick it up. You got to get it. Right. You gotta get it, man. So you only go get out of it what you put in, man. So I just want to leave everybody with that. So Sumo South out.
Yes, sir.
Bradley.
No, as always, thank you guys. Really appreciate the interactions as we've discussed before. We look forward to these times with you guys each week. Just interactions and getting to talk and discuss a lot of these topics, right? I guess I do want to add, as you can see, even our team here, we're all at different levels, right? We're all in different places, from years of experience to just getting started ourselves. So with that, there are no stupid questions, right? If you got a question or something like that we don't cover, reach out to us, right? If one of us can't get it, we'll find it, right? We'll find some answers. We'll get you some information. That's what it's about. It's about bettering the product, bettering the people, and bettering the industry as a whole. So, but again, we appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the foundation for what we do. Look forward to it. And we look forward to to the interaction next week. So thank you guys. Sumo Family out.
Hey, Bradley, we got a personal question for you. Charles is asking how much Beast weighs.
24 pounds.
Oh.
That was yesterday. I haven't weighed him today.
All right, Bradley, we gonna keep that under the cuff for a while. We're gonna have a piece of weight for 24 pounds already. Okay.
Yep.
Good Lord, you're getting him over there, man.
Okay.
Just some of that good raw, a little bit of kibble on top.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yep.
Old School Nick has a great topic. He says a good topic would be your methods of obedience, commands, and discipline training.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see who's going to want to take that topic, Old School Nick. Well, we'll definitely cover it. Because you guys can't just keep pushing it to me. Someone,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, we can.
we got good evening to you, Vanderleg. Rogerio, my friend, Barrett Master Reserva on Insta. Good evening to you. Thanks for
What's
coming
up,
out.
Barrett?
Got us at the end of it. Mine is simple, man. My messaging is simple. Only have the amount of dogs you can manage. Keep it tight. Keep it clean. Provide the highest level of care for your dogs when it comes to quality of life, nutrition, and environment, right? I don't care if that's one dog or 20 dogs. And I don't care if it's indoor or outdoor. I care about the quality of how you keep your dogs. That to me is the most important part of it, right? If you're limited to indoor only, you're just doing a lot more cleaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's fine.
Yeah.
But either way, again, it still comes down to those factors for me. I'm just privileged to be a little bit further along to have hybrid setup. That's ideal for me. That might not be ideal for everyone's lifestyle or where they live. So it's about maximizing your personal situation, your real estate situation, just the city or state you live in, whether you got space or not, and just really working around whatever limitations you may have based on finances or space or whatever that's keeping you at that place, right? You could still win, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could definitely still win, but again, keeping in mind non-negotiables and quality is the message we're sending out tonight.
Mm.
And so I like an indoor, I like an outdoor, I like a hybrid. That's just me. So, I want to thank Marky for bringing another monster topic that I was just like, Jesus, we just not gonna take my advice on the simple ones, huh? And then Ish is not here tonight, guys. Let's keep Sumo Tri-State Ish in our prayers for a speedy recovery. He's dealing with a few things health-wise, and of course, as a Sumo team, we're here to support him. And so understand, guys, that we're a short one. However, he's here with us in spirit.
Yep.
And so with that said, guys, Earl at Sumo Bully Kennels in Marky's fashion. Sumo out.
Appreciate it, guys.
Take
Next
care.
week.
So have a good night, man. God bless.
All right, y'all.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. See y'all.